Welcome back. We're going to be working on the CTS-V again in this video, which is right behind me here. So in the last video, we took care of most of the mechanical problems with this thing, with a couple exceptions. If you remember in the last video, we replaced the complete steering rack, sway bar end links, a couple other little things while we were in there, and we still had a leak. And that leak was from the high pressure power steering hose. Put a brand new one of those in. Also found out that we popped a brake line. It was rusted right where the fuel filter was. When I had originally replaced the fuel filter, it had caused that brake line to start to leak, which I can show you right here. So I saved this little section of brake line to show you guys. So here's a close-up of the brake line. You can actually see where the pinhole was. So this was right above the fuel filter. Yeah, so we replaced that, spliced it in with new copper brake line. I think it's called copper nickel brake line. Supposed to be less prone to rust, easy to bend, didn't have to use a special bender. Bought a flaring kit, flared the end of the lines, a couple of unions, good to go, zero leaks. Bled the entire system using my Motive brake bleeder. If you don't have one of those, highly recommend it. Instead of calling the old lady into the garage, getting her to pump the pedal and yelling at her when she pumps it at the wrong time and sucks a bunch of air in the system, and then you fight for 3 days. We've all been there. Instead of doing that, just pressurize the master cylinder and open the bleeders as you need to. Watch the fluid come right out. I think I got a couple clips of that for you guys. So highly recommend one of those if you guys are doing brakes every once in a while. Got all of our plastic liners back up under the car. Been driving it around. No leaks as of right now. Got our engine cover back on. Our strut tower brace bolted back up, so the engine bay is looking good. Fresh power steering fluid, obviously. Fresh brake fluid all around. So mechanically, this car has been good. Like I said, been driving it around, drive it to work, which is important because some of you guys have been on the channel a little while know that I've done a couple videos on it. I had a 2006 Mercedes E55 has been my daily driver for the last 3 or so years. And I just sold it. So unfortunately, she's headed down to Florida. Just got the right price for the car, and it's time to move on to something else. So as of right now, the old 05 CTS-V is going to be my daily. So I'm glad we got it all mechanically sorted. Drives good, runs good. Still got a couple little minor things to take care of, but overall it's doing pretty well. Oh yeah, I think I showed that in an earlier video, the oil pressure sensor was reading like 130 PSI, which is obviously not correct. So this is the original oil pressure sending unit on the back of the intake valley in most LS motors. Replaced it with a $6 one or an $8 one from Amazon. Now it reads correctly, so we're good to go there. So in this video, I'm going to focus more on the cosmetic side of things. So obviously, we're going to do a full paint correction on this thing. Wheels and tires are done, rear bumper's done, door handle's done. But she's still got some heavy swirling. Just needs a really good buff. Probably hasn't been done in a very long time. So we're gonna do a full paint correction, and also need to focus on this interior. I actually unbolted this rear seat because I'm gonna take the whole thing out. We had the tires that were back here that let these stains and imprints, because the car was stored with the tires in it, or stored's a strong word because it was just on the side of the road. So, lugs, whatever those were. So basically gonna take this whole seat out, clean that. Carpets are kind of gross. We're gonna vacuum those up, probably shampoo those. This is called a yaw sensor, and basically it goes in the center of the vehicle, in this case in the center console. And I'm hoping that this is the cause of our StabiliTrak codes that we've been getting. So the service vehicle stability system that keeps popping up. So we'll eventually try swapping that in there, see if that fixes our problem. Got some new badges for the car. We'll get into that in a little bit. Real quick, before we do that, let me show you something I bought. So I'm a big fan of floor mats. I think that any interior, it's got to have nice floor mats, and the ones in there are completely hammered. So I bought a nice set of floor mats for this thing, matched the tan interior. So here's what we got. Nice high quality, thick set of Lloyd's mats with the V symbol. Gonna look really nice. This will be a super nice final touch to the interior once we're done with that. So yeah, let's get started. Vacuuming, shampooing, cleaning up, all that good stuff. And I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Well, I was poking around a little bit before we start the interior. I'm still struggling with the lack of a speedometer in this car, as well as the StabiliTrak codes that we're getting. And everything seems to be hooked up on the transmission correctly. I know we're getting a speed input to the PCM because I can see it on the scanner, but nothing on the dash. So I started looking around. No wires seem to be in poor shape up here. Looked back here, and I think these are basically two main harness connectors. And look what we got. I knew that the harness that was chewed in the taillight harness, I think I talked about that in a previous video, the taillight harness was chewed up on the passenger side. I knew that being the only damage was too good to be true. So there's 3 wires here that are chewed, completely through. Hopefully one of these is the vehicle speed sensor. Maybe the other one's related to the StabiliTrak code, but either way, got to get these repaired. Not really sure if I'm gonna have to repin these or not, because those are right on the edge there. I don't even know if I can save these, but let's get these repaired, see where that gets us, and then get to the interior. right, back in the car. Got the wire harness repaired in the passenger fender over by the battery. Battery's hooked back up. Let's see what happens here. That's all normal. Normally this is when we get the service vehicle stability system message. It's a good sign so far. Awesome. All right, let's see if there's a chance we have our speedometer here. No way. Let's get the headlights on here. That was it. You guys see that? Just in reverse here. Let's get it in forward and go back in the garage since it's dark out. There we go. We fixed it. That is awesome. Damn mice chewed the wires, solved both of our problems. Unreal. Love it. We fixed both our speedometer not working issue and our service stability system issue with just repairing some wires. Hate mice, but you know, if you can find where they chewed the wires, it's, you know, awesome to be able to repair something like that for free. So now we are going to have a working speedometer, so I can put this cluster back together. I can put the center console back together here since I had all that torn apart when it turns out it was 3 wires up there. So don't forget to check the basics. You know, I replaced the stepper motor in the speedometer. Probably didn't need to. It was only 20 bucks, whatever, but you know, check the basics. So yeah, here's our old pin. You can see it's chewed off basically right at the seal there. And so instead of trying to repair this, I just took apart an old injector and harness. You know, actually this is a coil harness. I never throw this stuff away for reasons like this. You got all these perfectly good pins. I even had the right color wires to make it just like factory. So, you know, for free, we just repaired our problem. And another note on this cluster, while I took it apart, you know, some people made comments in last videos for good reason about, you know, if the speedometer's not working, the odometer is also not working, which is true. So it's hard to verify what the miles are on this thing. But we know that the odometer was more than likely working when this thing was parked for 2 reasons. One, check the Carfax. Mileage lines up perfectly with when it was parked in 2020. And also, you know, wires don't get chewed when cars are being driven. Wires get chewed when, you know, cars are parked on the side of the road for 2 years and not touched, and, you know, mice get up in them. So very fair to say, you know, this speedometer is working when the car was parked, and the 82,000 original miles on this car is accurate. Again, confirmed it with the Carfax, but just kind of cool to verify it with the chewed wires on the mice. All right, let's get to work cleaning this interior. We pulled out all the stops on this interior detail. Got all the tools out. Got the steamer, the carpet shampooer, all sorts of cleaning products, brushes, bristles, whatever. Vacuum, you name it, we used it. And what a transformation on this interior. You know, you guys saw it before. Looks so much better. You know, carpet shampooed, delinted all of the suede. Disgusting center console, steamed, cleaned, disinfected. Same thing with the dash and all the buttons, the steering wheel. Clusters cleaned up. I even polished the plastic cluster surround or glass, whatever you want to call it. Crystal clear there. Steamed all the vents. Dash, inside windows are cleaned. Rear seat came out pretty good. I mean, some of these tire stains, actually, I had to scrub so hard to the point that it actually removed some of the dye, but overall came out really good. New mats in the rear, removed some stains from right there. Like I said, shampooed all the carpet. New mats on the driver's side, obviously, all around. Looks really good in here. The only thing I'm kind of mad at myself about is this, to me, is a tan interior. But I guess in reality, if you look at it closely, you know what? It's pretty gray. And I was an idiot and just went on eBay and said, yep, got a tan interior, tan mats. And that's what they sent me. So now we got kind of a tan gray theme going on here. But, you know, I actually kind of like the contrast. It's actually kind of growing on me a little bit. Maybe these will be my winter floor mats or something. I could always order some gray ones that match this a little better, but this is fine for now. Love the V emblem on there. You can see the V emblem on the door sill. Looks really good. Those of you guys with Alcantara or suede seats, I usually use a razor blade, but as you saw, I grabbed one of these lint shaver things, and holy crap. This is just part of what I got here. It's all smushed down because I was stepping on the floor. I threw the other half away. Some of it's in here. For 12 bucks at Target, this thing worked awesome. Finished it off with some 1200 grit sandpaper. Here's all the change that came out of the car, so we'll factor that in our final price reveal. You know, there's at least a couple bucks here, so that's good. All that's out. Also gave the engine bay final wipe down. You guys already saw in a previous video, we power washed and scrubbed this whole thing, but just gave it a final wipe down. Looks really good in here. Interior's done, engine bay's done. Psyched about how this came out. Really, really nice. Also, real quick, just wanted to show you guys. Some of you guys might have noticed a check engine light in the some of the previous footage in this video. And I scanned that code, and it was P0101, which is a mass airflow sensor code. And I'm kind of wondering if that is our phantom starting issue that has been coming and going. It does it sometimes where it won't idle. Other times I'll get out of work, you know, after 8 hours, fired up, runs perfect, no big deal. Other times you can barely keep it running when you first start it, and then it'll run fine. You know, except sometimes roll into stoplights and stuff, it'll kind of want to die. So yeah, we got a MAF code. Check engine light comes and goes just for the MAF. You know, in a previous video we tried cleaning it, didn't work. Obviously, still getting the MAF code. So I took a gamble, and on Amazon purchased a $35 or $40 mass airflow sensor. Had good reviews. You know, a bunch of people saying, "Hey, this solves my code." I figured we'd try it, see if it works, see if it solves our starting issue, takes care of our check engine light. And if it doesn't, you know, maybe we'll just sack up and buy a OEM AC Delco one. But for now, yeah, 35 bucks. Let's toss this thing in. I got to clean up all these cleaning supplies, get organized again, and then let's get right back in here, start on the exterior. All right, new mass airflow sensors in. Let's see how this thing starts. Pretty good. No check engine light. Awesome. Test this thing, you know, do a bunch more starts and drive around to see if we've actually corrected the problem. But so far so good. No check engine light, seems to be running super smooth, no stumbling on startup. But for now, let's back this thing out, clean up the garage a little bit, and then we'll get into the paint correction. right, good morning everyone. Next day here. We finished up the interior detail on the CTS-V yesterday. Came out really good. Now it's time to focus on the exterior. The most satisfying part of, almost any time I buy a car is the paint correction. So last night after I left off with you guys, I gave the car another quick wash just because, like I said, I've been driving it and I want the paint to be nice and clean before we start any, paint correction, buffing, polishing. So here's our starting point. Like I said, the car's pretty straight. Got a couple little dings here and there, nothing major really, but as far as the paint is concerned, no major scratches or damage, but hopefully this comes up on camera. Lots of scuffs where you can see I just scrubbed the hell out of it, getting all that sap off in a couple earlier videos. Just lots of random little stuff. Headlights have some hazing we're gonna need to bring out. Just the overall really decent paint, but definitely needs a solid correcting. Hopefully you guys can see some of these swirls and stuff. Nothing we can't handle with the buffer. So you guys have seen me do it on the channel a bunch of times. This one should be really satisfying. Absolutely love this color. Can't wait to see what it looks like all shined up. I mean, it already looks pretty good. Depending on the lighting, I mean, the hood definitely needs some help, but you take a step back, this thing's gorgeous. It's gonna look even better, all shined up. So here's our lineup. You guys have seen this a bunch of times. We're gonna start with the Menzerna Heavy Cut Compound. This is gonna be, as the name implies, our cutting compound. This is gonna remove most of our defects. I'm gonna decide between using the microfiber pad and the foam pad. I really like this foam pad. I need to get some more of them. This thing cuts really fast and doesn't generate as much heat as the microfiber one does, but we'll see which one I end up using. Then we're gonna use our finishing polish, which is gonna remove any of the hazing or haziness from our cutting. Then we're gonna seal it all in with Blackfire Wet Diamond paint sealant, synthetic paint sealant, and a black pad, which is in this bag here. Of course, using my trusty Flex DA. So yeah, this should take a really long time. You guys know that. Paint correction is tedious, time consuming, but it is very satisfying. So without further ado, I'm gonna get started on this. Like I said, I'll do a little test spot on the hood, make sure we got all our defects out, and then we'll just blast through this. When we're done with the paint correction, I got some new emblems to put on, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. We wanna put those on before we wax it or seal the paint, obviously, so it has a better chance of a permanent bond. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, let's start knocking out this paint correction. Can't tell. Sun's starting to sink down. We finished the paint correction. It took all day, and it was a pretty hot day, so, I'm pretty beat, but we're not quite done yet. The car came out awesome, as they usually do. Stealth gray, absolutely fantastic color. Buffed out the headlights, those look awesome. I mean, the car just looks incredible. Really brought out the shine, removed a lot of the swirls. Sitting outside for 2+ years, being a 16-year-old car with almost 100,000 miles on it, I'll take that. Anyways, as I mentioned earlier, got some new emblems for this thing, so let me show you guys those. As you CTS-V guys might know, especially V1 guys, there's a lot of specialized parts for this car. For example, the front air dam that I put on there is very specific to the CTS-V. Regular CTS one won't do. I mean, there's a bunch of parts for this car that are very specific to the CTS-V and that are not interchangeable with obviously a base CTS. Emblems are another one, as I found out. This front crest is only for the CTS-V, and I believe the Cadillac, what is it, the SLR, basically the Corvette Cadillac, only fits those two. So you can't just go on Amazon and get a Cadillac crest from a CTS for $10. Got to get this one from GM. Same thing with the rear. I think this whole integrated LED brake light is specific to the CTS-V. Got to get this emblem from GM. And same thing with the ones on the sides. Obviously specific to the CTS-V or STS-V, I believe. So I did a compromise in the middle. So here's my original side and rear emblems. You can see very common on these is the center part, which I've actually popped out here. Just fades, ends up looking like crap. So here's my 3 emblems, one on each fender and one on the rear trunk lid. And here's the ones from Amazon I got. These are $7 each. And, same thickness, seems to be same quality. Only problem is they're smaller, probably for copyright reasons. But, I think they're going to look okay. And the reason I went with these is because these from GM are $150 each. So we're talking, $450 in emblems, which to me, for this right here, absolutely outrageous. So I decided to just get the 3 Amazon ones. They're a little bit smaller. If it bothers me, I can always, replace them in the future. But I think that, no one's ever going to notice. If I didn't tell you this, you're probably never going to notice. So to save $400+ was worth it to me. Also, there is a company out there, Rebadge Designs. I believe it's the same company that made the Z06 steering wheel emblem for my car over there. Rebadge Designs, they make basically just this part. You can kind of pop back into the original emblem. That was like $100 for 3 of them, I think. So I considered that as well. But I figured for $21 for all these combined, I figured I'd give this a shot first. The front emblems, couldn't find anything. Sacked up. Got this from GM. This one was $92, I believe. And for some reason, this rear one was only $6. So we'll take that. So we got all brand new emblems here. You can see every single emblem on this car is faded. So I think it really deserves new ones to really pop. But first, we just completely paint corrected this car. We need to take all the waxes and greases that we just put on that are in the polishing compound off and wipe the whole thing down so it's ready for emblems. Get those on. I got some measurements before I took the old emblems off, so I know exactly where they go on the fenders. So yeah, let's wipe this whole car down, get the emblems on there, and then we'll seal it all up with our Blackfire wet diamond, pull this thing out, and see how it looks. Complete cosmetic transformation on our cheap CTS-V. What a transformation it was. This paint came out incredible. Really love this stealth gray. Tons of flake in it. Awesome color. Paint came out awesome. Almost 100% defect free again. You know, the car does have a couple little defects. Got a, you know, chip there. I think there's a small dent right here. But I mean, for what, 16 years old, 85-ish thousand miles. Hard to beat that. Super happy with how the paint came out. Brand new emblems look awesome. Brand new emblems all around. Headlights cleaned up really nice. Wheels look great. Super straight. Interior cleaned up super nice. Got the sunroof open. It's about 7:30 in the morning and it is already hot. Middle of summer here. So thank God we got cold AC in this thing. We can use that later if we need to, but for now we're going to enjoy the windows down and cruise around a little bit. But yeah, could not be happier with how this transformation came out. The car looks awesome compared to how it was, you know, when we found it on the side of the road. To now, just an absolutely incredible transformation. But that's going to do it for this video. I mean, we really brought this Cadillac around. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. The next one, I think we'll kind of go through total cost involved, my thoughts on daily driving the car, which I've been doing for the past couple weeks, and you know, any other thoughts I might have. So I hope to see you guys then. Thank you as always for watching. We'll see you next time.